Well, here's the thing. If I was to gamble on anyone to make people better or successful, or myself to be successful, it would be me. Like 10 times out of 10, I would choose myself over anybody else for success. It's not even about the money, right? It's about pushing the boundaries and like, like on this planet for 85 years, 90 years if we're lucky. I want those to be like legacy building years so that the people that lead the path after me have a different choice to make.
Oh, Chris, how you doing?
I'm good.
Thanks for coming on.
Let me just stick some headphones in.
It's all right.
Good. I won't put these on. Is it recorded on video as well?
Yeah.
Yeah, we will run it to YouTube, but
It's all right. You can have
I'm
it
going to
on,
put them on.
yeah. You can put them on.
Look like I'm blasting off in SpaceX.
You can wear them if you want. See it. Some people do.
Yeah, but you're fortunate, John. You've got your missus at home who can cut your hair because she's a hairdresser.
Yeah.
I've just got to go full on buzz cut every time now.
Is what it is. I still have to beg her though to cut my hair. You know what I mean? Just like say, do you fancy cutting it? She's like, oh, I've got nothing else to do. You know, it's like that. It's like, well, I can't go out anywhere and get it cut, can I?
Mate, you ain't got to beg her for much else though, have you, in your life?
Well, this is it. Not in my place. You know?
Chris, just to give you a bit of a lowdown, John's got 8 kids.
Is this John?
Yeah.
You're telling me about, yeah.
Number 9 on the way. So,
Oh, mate.
It's a mixture of like, I like to keep my wife happy and I can't tell her no.
Yeah.
That's just it. You can't do it. It's a happy wife, happy life, and that in lockdown, there's nothing more truer than that. Because your work becomes like your home and everything else. So it's
what I get, you've got about 9 TVs in your house, John, and you still manage to have another kid.
there is. You can't see it right now, but opposite me, just over there, the other side of my office, is my youngest daughter. She's got headphones on. And she was doing homework. Now she's playing Roblox.
Yeah,
So
my daughter plays on that as well.
Yeah, that's it. She's on it now.
They basically FaceTime on a group FaceTime all of her friends, and then they play on Roblox together.
That's it, all at the same time, just in the corner section. They've got the FaceTime. Yeah, she does it with her cousins and her friends and stuff.
Yeah.
I don't really get it, but I suppose it's just one of them things.
She showed me a pink kitchen that she created yesterday.
And they have the little pets. They have the little pets and stuff like that. Yeah, she's doing it. I can see her now. She's got some little pet unicorn and everything else. It's just, I don't know, it's a weird, it just makes you laugh and makes you think about what's it going to be like when they get older, you know? It's just for us, we've had to sort of slowly...
I remember busting open the Mega Drive for the first time and just being ecstatic, do you know what I mean?
That's it, the NES, the cartridges, you pull the cartridge out, you blow it to try and make it work. Simplicity in itself, and now, look what we've got now. You've got like iPads and everything. But saying that, my son, he's 2. He knows the code for my phone, the 6-digit code. He taps it in just so he can play games.
My boy's 4 and he's 4 on Friday, and he's got a little what's it called, like a little tablet, like in a tab thing or something. It's like a little mobile phone, and he's got this messenger app on, and now he just voice messages us. Like it's insane. It's crazy.
But they've grown up with this technology, see, so they're going to be like really bang on it straight away, and we've sort of slowly progressed into it from a digital content sort of stage.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, that's it. But it's thanks for coming on, Chris. Anyways, it's really it's nice to have you on. Obviously, I've heard a lot about you and your coaching stuff and everything like that. How did you fall into the coaching side of things? Just because you want to help people, or just in general?
I was a personal trainer, and actually, coaching wise, I started coaching football when I was 15. I had a background in football. Was playing a decent high level. It was an opportunity come up through my club to do our level 1. Okay. And so did the coaching certification, started contributing back to young kids. And then I joined a company called Brazilian Soccer Schools. I don't know if you've heard them before.
Yeah, I've heard of them. Yeah.
So I was working closely with the owner, Simon Clifford, and the assistant, Steve Nicol. And then I ended up playing for Garforth Town, which was the club. Basically just started coaching throughout that, and it was a way for us to, obviously as semi-professional players, it was a way for everybody to earn an extra income as well inside of it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I was playing football and just naturally progressed from there. Went to university, did sports coaching for participation performance, fell into personal training, left my degree. Wanted to be a PE teacher, actually. Didn't get on to the, I think it's PGCE or something like that. I didn't, actually didn't get onto it. I got denied, and I was like, what the hell am I going to do? One of my mates was a personal trainer, and he was like, I made like 1,500 quid. I sold like 5 block bookings this week. And I'm like, 1,500 quid in a week. I'm in for that. Tell me, where do I go to sign me up? And yeah, I just fell into PT, and it was like a stopgap at the time. And I mean, then yeah, just naturally progressed from there. Worked in the health club for like 18 months. Loved it at first, hated the culture after that. And then launched a boot camp. Partnered with Paul Mort. And then we grew, I think, 23, 24 boot camps across the UK.
Wow.
Amazing.
Yeah, so it's just been, I kind of been a coach since I was 15. I'm 33 now, so I've been a coach longer than I haven't. So
yeah, it's a long time.
You got in at a very pivotal point to sort of digital content, really. Then before, I mean, it's only really been now that you notice. I mean, the ads have always been on Facebook for online coaching, for PTs, for stuff like that. But it's only really like since lockdown, every other feed is that digital content, and you got into it at a very, very early stage.
Yeah, I started advertising on Facebook 2011.
Yeah, that's it. Hardly anyone was doing it back then. 2011, that's it. Yeah,
it was tiny little ads on the right hand side. That's all you used to have. There was no newsfeed ads at all. It was just these tiny little ads, like a tiny little image and a little headline, and that's all it was. Yeah, crazy.
Yeah, because I started doing ads when I was about 2014, and I even remember then like having to turn ads off.
Yeah.
And I remember like burning leads and just not having time to get back to them. And it was like, but what do you think's changed now then? Why do you think it's like got harder for people to get the same return they was back then?
It's easy. The inventory is limited on the platform. So back before adoption, inventory was obviously freely available. More advertisers on the platform, less inventory available, rises the cost. So there's a metric called CPM, cost per 1,000 impressions. That's pretty much how most interruption-based marketing platforms bill people. And so the only way in which they can actually increase their revenue for shareholders is by inflating the cost. Now, most advertisers don't understand that metric and they don't see it. They just think that they pay per click, but click cost is a derivative of CPM multiplied by CTR. So as CPM increases over time, the same performing ad will gradually get more expensive. So, and plus obviously more competition, marketplace awareness. As you said before, John, it seems like more and more advertisements are now more awareness of the public that there is actually ads on Facebook. Before, newsfeed ads, people wouldn't really know that it was an ad, if that makes sense, because it's like native content.
Yeah.
So consumers become more aware, and there's awareness levels as well. So you look back to the history of advertising back in like the 50s and 60s when the weight loss industry was really first revolutionized. You could literally put an ad in a newspaper saying how to lose weight, and that claim would be enough for people to actually respond. But now you put an ad on Facebook saying how to lose weight, and people they're just blind to it because they've seen it so many times that I've heard that before.
Yeah.
So you have to become more mechanized. Like you have to really think about what you do and differentiate a lot more.
And there's advertising standards as well. There's certain things you can and can't say, I'm assuming. Like obviously the false advertising sort of stage of things, because I think what people miss from it and any other diet is a degree of accountability, which is the key element to it. You can only help someone who helps themselves. You know, you're agreeing to meet them 50-50, if you like, and show them the way. So, but a lot of people used to take it as this is a miracle thing. You're going to make me a millionaire. You know, like earn your 6-figure sum or trading or doing something else like that. It's really changed in the way that you have to write your copy. I'm assuming. Do you write your own copy stuff?
Yeah, I do. I write a lot of my own copy. Actually, that's kind of how I got into. I mean, direct response was the thing that I fell in love with. So as a personal trainer, I realized very quickly that marketing was essential. And I stopped studying nutrition and training after a certain point to the level I was. Like everything I was studying was like training nutrition. Then I switched to more mindset mentality because I was just giving clients diets and training programs and they weren't sticking to it. Then when I got wrapped up in psychology and what makes people change and tick, then I was like, okay, how do I get more people involved in this? Then I naturally progressed to direct response marketing, started studying old school copywriters, like people in the 50s, 60s, the early ad men, Ogilvy's, Eugene Schwartz. I don't know if you guys have seen Mad Men, the TV show.
I haven't watched it yet. People keep telling me to watch that.
Yeah. I actually haven't watched it, but it's based upon that era of advertising with David Ogilvy and like the Madison Avenue stuff. And yeah, I mean, it was just a natural evolution for me. Then I fell in love with marketing so much so that was the transition that I made outside of training to more contributing marketing skills to other people.
Yeah. So if you had to say, because obviously you had the boot camp before and you got into that, and then like most trainers, we're trying to perfect our craft all the time. So more exercise, nutrition, client adherence. What was the transition for you? And like, how would you kind of describe in one sentence what you do now?
Yeah. So we help more recently, more coaches across the board. So typically I like to work with people in wellness, health, well-being, mindset, nutrition, training, just because that's my background. And we basically arm them with the tools to go and attract more people into the world, which ultimately I see as my contribution to the industry to create more impact. So if I can help someone go and change 100 people's lives, that's far more powerful than me going and changing 100 lives, because I can change 100 people's lives by contributing to them to change 100 people more. And it's kind of a tidal effect. And so, yeah, we basically help them with lead generation and sales, and then delivery of their systems in a virtual manner. I just think we're at a point where virtual is convenient. And if you think 10 years ago, people were seeking out a local coach, they would be limited to the personal trainer inside of the gym, or they'd be limited to the counselor that they were provided to by a doctor locally or referred to. Now you have the ability to connect yourself with a coach that is right for you and your situation. So I have a high performance coach and he's in Australia. I had a call with him this morning at 6:30 this morning. Like that just wasn't possible like 10 years ago. That was never something that would happen. I just feel like it's a much better place that we're in now, where we can use digital marketing to actually reach people that we can create impact with, and where there's a synergy and win-win rather than just that local, restricted by your 3-mile radius. Your success is based upon where you were born. And I think that's how it used to be a lot. Like if you were born in LA in the 90s, like you're going to grow up with the sickest hip hop ever. And like to get in the hip hop culture, you'd have to be grown up in the 90s in LA. But like now you've just got access to the internet and stuff like that. I mean, there's another example. I grew up doing graffiti and dirt jumping. So I used to like ride bikes and dirt jump. And I was just laughing with a friend. We used to watch Sprung DVDs, and they were like these cassettes. They weren't even DVDs, they were cassettes at the time. And now like there's just YouTubers everywhere, like sharing like how to do stuff, and there's just daily content available. So kids in like little obscure towns and villages that wouldn't have access to anything now have access to all of the information they need. And kids are just so much smarter now because of it.
Yeah.
So everything's at your fingertips. Any question you ever want, you've got a plethora of information whenever you want it.
Yeah, I don't know if you guys are into Elon Musk at all, or if you listen to any of his stuff. But he's been on Joe Rogan twice, and I was listening to his podcast, and it was really interesting what he was saying about like the evolution of AI and how we're going to move closer and closer to AI. He's developing a thing called Neuralink right now.
That's it, yeah. I saw that, where they're going to integrate to the brain. Yeah, I saw that.
But he's like, we're only one step away from full AI integration. He's like, everybody has a phone now, which is like an extension of AI. Basically, the only thing that's resisting AI being part of us is the data transfer rate from brain to search to back to the brain. But you have access to anything that you want. It's just the speed of the access that is the missing link right now.
He was also saying that we've actually invented telepathy, because if you can basically, you already can think of a word in your mind, type it down without saying it, and I can pass it to you via a phone. And he was saying that once you take that away and you put it in your head, and you think of a word and it texts to your friend, it's telepathy. You're just communicating with your mind.
Yeah, the data rate is slow.
Yeah,
right?
The cellular link to do it. And he was saying that the satellites that he's going to be putting in space in the next 10 years are going to give Wi-Fi to the world without cables, anything.
Yeah,
everything will be just, everyone will be
scary
able to
at the same time.
Oh, yeah.
AI is, it's those. I watched on telly the other day that those dogs. Have you seen the dog that they've got doing the patrols at the moment? They've got like the robot dogs that can open the doors and all that sort of thing, and the legs go off and they're kicking it and it's just staying upright. And there was Boston Dynamics. They had a robot that could that was firing, and they were hitting it with stuff, and it was falling over, and it was standing up, still firing. That's just Skynet. Scary. Just we're bringing that Terminator film to life.
It's definitely.
Slowly.
We've been living in the Matrix for the last few weeks, though, right? Like the whole coronavirus, the lockdown thing. Like everybody's adopted virtual. Like Danielle, my wife's nan, was on a Zoom call with us. Like, how insane is that? She probably didn't know what Zoom was like 6-8 weeks ago. Now she's plugged into virtual like calls like this. It's just it's
but
insane.
This has forced the hand, like you were saying before about digital content has never been more prevalent. Now it's almost as if lockdown has made it 100% way of life. And I think when we come out of this, I was saying to Russell before that I think the world's going to change. Like people are not going to need to travel that distance. They're going to say, well, during lockdown for that 9-10 weeks, we did these meetings like this. Why do we need to do that? And that will be the next environmental argument, I think, as well, that they'll be saying that, look at what's happened. We don't have to travel so much. Why are we spending so much money on this infrastructure? And I think it's really going to change the way everything.
I think 9 to 5 will dissolve completely. I think that will completely dissolve. I think the fact that there's a lot of bloat and inefficiency. You think about companies where people are driving to and from work, that's 2 hours a day. Like for a lot of people, like that's inefficient use of time. And also you think about face-to-face meetings. How many times of face-to-face meetings have you guys had that are just complete waffle and BS and non-essential stuff?
Death by meeting, even exactly. Waffle, but then I've had a lot of them on Zoom actually while I've been off. To be honest with you, with other things and work and bits and pieces like that, you think I don't really need to be doing this. You know, we could shorten that time frame down. So,
but even the way that kids have been educated, so obviously we've always liked the idea of homeschooling. We've not the obvious gap is social, but like my little girl's able to just wake up relaxed and she's working on her stuff and she's doing things and she's getting ahead. I mean, she's getting frustrated at times with herself because she hasn't got the teacher there, but it's shown that kids of her age can be independent learners and thinkers. Yeah. And she's 11 and at university, you're expected to have that level of self-driven, self-motivated learning. But now kids of a younger age have had to do that and adopt it. I just think it's hard to go back to what we were like. I think
as well, like you can involve a lot of enrichment into that as well, because we're always moaning saying that the school system is only teaching like maths and English and making it harder. And where are the transferable skills? So you've got now time to kind of not stick to the syllabus, you know, cover the basics. But you were saying, John, that your son, you know, he's learning coding and he's, what is he, 13, 12, something like that?
Yeah, he's just turned 13 and he decided that he wanted to teach himself coding. So we got on YouTube and we bought him a computer and he sits there trying to tell me about coding websites and he's doing all this coding. I'm like, what are you doing? And then he shows me the flip side of it to this website that he's built. He's 12 years old and he's on about binary code and stuff. And you play Minecraft. Have you seen Minecraft?
Yeah, seen that. Yeah.
So like, I was mad on Lego as a kid. Everyone was, but Minecraft came out. It's like boxes and it's almost like Lego, but a digital version of Lego. So he got that game and he created these lights to create binary code in like Minecraft. And I was watching him do it and I was thinking, I'm so far away from that. Like that mindset of just, you know, and when I was his age, even now to this stage, I'm thinking the prospects of what they've got are just, they're endless. I mean, one thing you did say, social contact is down more than anything else. I mean, and I said this before, like lockdown, like the week before lockdown, we were like mental health, go around and see people, make sure they're all right, social contact, go see them. All of a sudden that went out the window, like everyone separate. It was the total bipolar opposite. But we've had like social networking for such a long time. There's almost created like an unsociable sort of network. Like, I agree. And it's only now during this lockdown that we're using it to connect to each other because we can't. So I'm hoping that will change. There's so many people walking around with their heads down like that doctors were saying that you're going to have everyone's going to have short-sightedness because they're looking at their phones like here and a bad necks forever because everyone's just walking around in the streets looking down all the time. But it's that social aspect of it that needs to change. If there's that slight difference to it, we could, and hopefully this will change that.
Yeah, I mean, there's alternative views of it as well, like evolutionary progression. And so we see what we did in the 1910s and 20s as very different to what we did in the 50s and 60s, as to being very different to what we did in the 90s, as to what we did in the 2000s, the 2010s. And I think we've gone through ages of like industriousness. You've gone through all of that industrial age and manufacturing and factories, and now like we're in this digital age. And I think if kids don't adopt it, they're going to be the same as those manufacturing companies that went out of business because they were just redundant. And the skills were redundant. And I think now it's like, it's the adoption of digital. Obviously, there are implications with it, but we're on a runaway train that's not slowing down. It's not going to go backwards. I don't think, like you say, I mean, virtual communication maybe is ramped up because people have, here's the thing. I think people have been forced to adopt technology. A lot of people in their 30s, 40s, and 50s are like, shit, I can't do technology. I can't do a thing. I can't touch a thing. Now they've been forced in an 8-week period to like, you got to learn this stuff. Otherwise, life, you're not going to be able to socialize. Life's not going to be the same. I just think, it's mad, like evolution of humanity, basically.
Yeah, no, 100%. So like with that kind of evolution and so on, like I've been hearing a lot from people, working in what I do, coaching people, busy men, you obviously coaching trainers, you're my personal coach as well. Like, how has it affected your business? Because a lot of people I think have been burying their heads in the sand. They're kind of not choosing to adapt, and they're kind of just like waiting and praying and hoping for things to be all right. And I've had conversations with people saying, well, what if it isn't for another 6 weeks or another 6 months? It's like, what's your thought about that?
I just think I actually did a call with our coaching students with my high performance coach of the day, and we were talking about the drama triangle, which is 3 different personality traits. Well, they're not personality traits. They're 3 different roles you can play. One is persecutor, which is bully. One is rescuer, which is what most coaches are. And then one is victim. And if you're stuck in the drama triangle, you will always adopt one of those roles. And I think for like the first week or so, I was like, holy crap, what am I going to do? Obviously, a partner in a gym. So I have a gym that shuts down. I've got staff that I'm responsible for. We coach gym owners. And so all of their businesses shut down. So we had to like really, I didn't even have time to think about it at the time. I just had to turn everything around and ramp everybody up and basically save 30 gyms. I just had all of that responsibility on my shoulders.
Yeah.
And I just didn't think about it for like 3 or 4 weeks. But there's also the side that I was helping people with their virtual businesses, which I've been doing for a period of time, but it's never been my main thing. Over the last 60 days, we've massively ramped that up. And man, we've like, I think impacted maybe 60, 70 coaches in the last 60 days or something. It's kind of crazy. So yeah, I think most people get afraid and they're scared. And I think they find it difficult to think outside of their current paradigm. But the challenge that people are going to have is that things aren't going to return to normal. This is what I don't think people realize. I think they think when this is over, I'll just go back to what I'm doing. Corporate health clubs aren't going to be the same. They can't be. They physically can't be. Social distances is going to be something that's going to be here for 6 to 12 months. So to wait around for things to go back to normal, it's not going to happen. Things are going to change dramatically, and I don't think anything will be the same again.
Yeah, hope is a strategy, is it?
Yeah, exactly. Hope is a terrible strategy, and praying is not, never going to get you out of it. So I think people just have to adapt, and I think they have to learn what is the new rules of the game.
For some people, it's evolution. For some people, it's revolution. I mean? I think it all depends on where you started. Like I said to you before, you've been in it for years. And like slowly but surely, I suppose it's like hurdles. You just adapt to the height of where you've gone to. And now you're just finding a new level. But people are going to look to you now even more to help them as you've been doing it for years. And it's just, for you.
I'm very fortunate.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, it's kind of crazy to me because I feel like I got in it late, if that makes sense. Like I've been in it so long. Yeah. And I've had mentors that were 2006, 2007. in digital businesses. They've had digital businesses 2006, 2007, 2008. And so in my mind, like entering digital marketing like 2010, I'm like, I'm behind, like 5 years behind. Now I feel like I'm a decade ahead, if that makes sense.
Yeah, because you've adapted to it better than most. I mean, you could have been in it for years, but if you didn't evolve with the times, and as the hurdles came along, you were just falling at each one and you weren't learning from your mistakes, then time frame wouldn't really matter. Plus, if you had a good mentor, do it. Like Russell, obviously he's been following you for a while, and the progression that he's done in the last couple of years is unbelievable. So I think it's a testament to not just yourself, but obviously to the hard work that people put in. Obviously you've helped each other in such a way that he really has sort of benefited from it, you know?
Yeah.
So that's why I suppose you feel ahead, because you've evolved better than most to it.
Well, the e-learning industry right now, pre-lockdown, here's some stats for you, is a $355 million a day industry.
Wow.
These were stats from 2018, so pre-lockdown. Expected to climb to 300 billion plus a year. And I believe that was by 2025. So by 2025, the expected $300 billion per year industry, the e-learning market. I think that's collapsed that by 2 to 3 years at very least. I think we've gone from 2020 to 2025, and I think we've shortened that time by at least at least half, if not more than half.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's crazy. I think people just have to really understand two things. Opportunity, like there's so much opportunity for people to create a business now that never existed before. Like my dad growing up, he worked in a factory, he worked in Nissan. Like he didn't have the same available tools, at my age when I got into this stuff. Same as the generations ahead of us, whatever, they didn't have access to the tools. And I think now, no matter your age, whether you're 40, 50, 60, 32, 17, like everybody has an equal playing field, because the only thing that stands in the way of people doing it is three things: mindset, skill set, and get off your asset.
Yeah.
And I think that's it.
I was literally at a social distancing gathering yesterday for my girlfriend's sister's 21st.
I love that. I love that. That's
a
social distance gathering.
Yeah. Yeah. And it was like you saying about this, like this is directly still in one of your quotes, John, but if you're like an analog watch stuck in a digital age, you're going to get left behind.
Yep.
And she was saying about like, they've got no money coming in, and dad's a photographer and all that. And she said like, he gets all of his income from prom, which would be coming up. And I just said, well, why couldn't he make a digital photography course?
Yeah.
To teach, youngsters, adults, whoever it is, like how to, learn photography skills. And this is something that can be just rinsed and repeated, packaged and sold.
Yeah.
And kind of looked to me like, what the hell are you talking about? But it's like, but this is where things are going. This is what's happening. And even if you are still trying to stay in that, like, analog mindset, now's the time to upskill yourself for when you do go back to work. So like looking from a trainer's perspective, like luckily, unfortunately, I'm blessed enough to obviously be inside your coaching even beforehand. And like, I've never had more opportunity than ever. But if someone's still thinking, I'm going to wait till things go back to normal, whatever normal is, you've now got time. Like even courses are at the lowest price ever I've seen.
Yeah.
Because of this. And it's crazy. It's mental.
I just think when we've got, the thing that baffles me is when we've got so much education at our fingertips, there are so few people that actually sit down and figure things out. And like you said, I mean, this is a crazy statistic, but you'll make more money by teaching the thing you do than actually doing the thing.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
I agree with that.
Because like, here's the thing: if you're an athlete, let's say for example, you are. I'm obsessed with this guy at the minute. He's called Matt Jones. He's got a YouTube channel. He's like a mountain biker. So I'm getting back into dirt jumping and buying a bike.
Yeah.
And basically, he makes more money from his YouTube channel, I assume, and sponsorship deals and sharing his content than he actually does from racing. So the level of thing, like the photography is a great example. You can do wedding photography and be there taking, photographs, doing that all the time. Or you can go and teach people that are aspiring photographers how to become a wedding photographer.
Yeah.
And you teach them business skills of how to do that. And you can go and get 100 clients in the next year to pay you $2,000 a pop and make 200 grand. Like that's like, how could you conceivably not find 100 people interested in photography that would like to start a business in photography?
Oh, you could. I mean, starting a photography website and having your pictures and going on it, but people are still moaning about time. People are still sitting there going, "Oh, I don't have the time to do that." Even though you're in lockdown, the amount of people that say it. My brother said it to me the other day. Said to him, so I think it was about, it was something to do with coding or journalism or something. I said to him, "Why don't you sit down and go through it on YouTube?" And he was like, "I ain't got the time." So, like, what are you doing? What are you doing? Nothing. You know, like it's too busy doing what?
All the while watching Netflix or browsing YouTube on something that's entertainment based.
That's it. People are going to come out of this. Some are going to come out of it with new skills. Some are going to come out of it with new businesses, and others are going to come out of it the same or worse off than they were before. Like people were. There's always a time to adapt. There's nothing you can't teach yourself on YouTube. Nothing. We went to me and Russell.
Yeah.
Went to a place, Success Resources, like a talk thing, like, you know, where they had lots of. It was Gary V.
Yeah, they're a massive promoter of events. Then.
Yeah, we just went to just see it, and I mean, I'd never been to one before. I'd been to like talks and bits and pieces like that, and Russell's always on about going to see Tony Robbins, and I said I'd go with him, and we wanted to see Gary V. It was a whole day of people sort of selling to you. Basically, they were talking to you, and they were trying to sell you everything. But there was a couple of guys there. There was one that guy named Sandy Javid, and he was like a stock trader, and he was teaching you how to read Forex signals and things like that. And loads of people signed up for his course. It was about $2,000. And I thought to myself, I could teach myself that. I reckon I could teach myself. So I walked away, and one of the guys who was with us, he bought the course, and I taught myself it. And we were probably at the same level. I just went on YouTube and just watched loads and loads and loads of videos on signals and ways to do this and everything else. And if you want to put the time in, you just learn it. That's it. But some people are always looking for that shortcut. You know?
There's as I was talking about the drama triangle before, this is a prime example. Don't have time is victim.
Yeah.
And so people are like, I don't have time to do that. But as somebody who uses leadership to pull people out of the drama triangle, you've got to challenge, coach, confront. And so in those instances, whenever anybody gives me a reason like that, I'm like, okay, pull out your phone. Show me your screen time over the last 7 days.
Yeah.
And then I'll show you somebody who's got 8 hours a day on their phone. It's a full working week. It's insane.
You can do that now, can't you? You can check all your screen time and see everything where you've been doing, and procrastinating's the thing. So many times I've sat here in front of my screen and I've written, like, in fact, I said it to you this morning, Russell, right? I wrote 10 things down I wanted to do yesterday. 10 important things I needed to do. And I was on meetings throughout the day, bits and pieces. I got one of those things done. That's it. Just one. But I was busy all day. And it's distraction and procrastination. I'm totally guilty of that. And I've tried to sort of write things down and get it there.
Here's an alternative way of thinking for you, John. The 9 out of 10 things were either not important enough, or you put too much on your plate to actually get any of them done.
Yeah.
So I'd say be more patient with yourself. Give yourself less stuff to do with more time, and you'll be more efficient with it all.
Yeah, I probably set myself too much.
With clients, when they say they haven't got the time, I say, pull up your calendar. 9 times out of 10, I say I haven't got one.
Yeah. Nothing in it.
And I say, well, you haven't got one. So if you can't show me where your time's gone, like,
make it up as you go.
I'm going to solve this. Yeah.
I'd say, John, you probably got exactly what you needed to get done yesterday, and you probably did the thing that you actually needed to get done. And I think, like you might. This is the thing. People beat themselves up, but I know this is the podcast for you. Is maybe something that was born out of lockdown, was it?
No, I did it.
You've been doing this for a while?
I just wanted to talk to people. I think it was my therapeutic and escapism. Like Russell does a lot of videos where he talks to the camera and he tells people how they feel, and I did the same thing. And I wanted to talk to people. I wanted to have that conversation. I've always been like, you know, you go for a pint, we sit down, we have a conversation, and I've never had a format. I just want to see where it goes, and give everyone a platform to just say their thing. And I think that's how I live by priority. That's just the way I do things with my lists and that. I write 10 things down, but I prioritize as stuff comes along, because I've got a hectic life with work,
you got
kids. You got kids more than anything else.
Kids,
like, you know.
A full-time job. And so the one thing that you did yesterday, I think that's a win.
And this is the thing as well, which is crazy. He's also gone from running 2K to 7 miles, sorry. And you've dropped, what, about 1.5 stone now in 6 weeks?
Yeah, lockdown got the better of me with the beer and everything else. So I really need to switch on. I really struggled to sort of, because like yourself with the gyms and everything like that, and I've always trained with Russell, and I just found it really difficult to sort of get into that. And Russ worked with me to get me right back up to that point, and change my mindset a little bit, and started to run and everything else like that.
Do you know what I love about it as well, John? Like, Russell probably would have given you the program for free, but I love the fact that you committed to it. Do you know what I mean?
I commit to everything he's done. Everything. Yeah. Over the last 5 years, since the beginning, since his first course, when we sat down and we had a conversation, he was talking to me, he was sitting with me. I remember it was in this old little, like, tiny little box room in Rayleigh where we live. And it was like a little gym, and he was like, I'm thinking about going to do this program and everything. I said, do it. Just do it. Yeah. Do the program, do it. And ever since then, I've followed his progression. I love listening to it. I love listening to the stories.
What the nicest thing is that we actually had the conversation in the morning saying I wanted to, this was back in 2015, I want to learn a bit more about marketing. And there was a course for 2K. And I didn't have a lot of funds, and a lot of it was, poor money choice or whatever it may be. And John listened to me, and later on that afternoon, he sent me a text message and said, check your bank account. Because I wasn't where I was now, like 6 years ago. And, it's all levels, isn't it? And I've always looked at John as an inspiration, family, work, life, kids, and everything else. And we've been very close since we were children. And lo and behold, I checked my bank account, $2,000 was in there. And he just said, just call it a year of training.
He was passionate about it. You know what I mean? He was talking about it. He was passionate about it, and he wanted to do it. And he talked me round, and I thought, you know what? It'd be criminal if he couldn't do it. And and he's taken that, and he's quadrupled it and everything else. It's just when you believe, like he was so passionate about it, about what he wanted to do.
I mean that's powerful as well. Like, obviously, I think for people out there that maybe don't have that influence in their life or that person, this is the reason that there are podcasts like this that exist, so that people can get access to people or the way of thinking and model the way in which people think. And whilst it might not be a financial benefit, you get the benefit of the inspiration that you get from listening to things like this and seeing that, man, there's a lot of really bad things going on in the world right now, but there's also a lot of awesome things happening at the same time. And there are a lot of awesome people out there that are actually committed to helping people.
Yeah.
That's the important thing, though, isn't it? Is you've got to give back. You've got to help people. There is too many people doing like nasty stuff and everything like that. And there's a lot of trainers and stuff that are taking advantage of people. And it's nice to sort of go through, like, speak to you guys and Paul. We spoke to Paul Morton the other day. Yeah. Genuinely a really funny geezer. He actually really cracked me up. He's definitely a character. He's crazy. Brilliant. He is very, very funny. It's that professionalism that comes across with it as well, with yourself and him, which is great to hear, like for that side of things. And I love it. I love to see people progress. Said to Russell, what's the point of being successful? Like, you win the lottery and you've got all that money. And you know what happens? All right, you've got a lot of money, but you're lonely because none of your friends have got that money.
Yeah, I don't want to be on a jet ski. Do you know what I mean? I want to have jet skis with all my friends.
Yeah,
that's it. What's the point of? You want to be successful with your circle. Otherwise, you end up meeting all these new pretentious people and everything like that. It's lonely at the top. There's no point. You want to bring everyone with you, elevate everybody. I've always said that. Rush shares.
A rising tide.
Absolutely.
Will lift all boats.
Yeah,
this is it. That's what you've got to do. You've got to help everyone else. I just don't see the point of, you want to build yourself like a family, like a really tight circle of sort of people you trust and you believe in that can help people, which is another reason why I started this podcast, to sort of try and push it out to people like yourself, Chris, like just let them know that there's people out there that want to help you, and not just for the short run, for the long run. You know what I mean? It's a partnership throughout if you want.
Definitely.
And we were talking about this with this morning about business and coaching. It's creating that, because I always say, like, purpose first, profit later.
Yeah.
It's the journey, isn't it? And then we were talking about, creating tribalism throughout what you do. And I feel the sense of that within the Leverage Coach, what we're doing. It's great. You feel like you're part of something. You've got that community. I mean, where do you see this going next for you, Chris? Like, because you've evolved from, like, obviously boot camp into running businesses, looking after trainers, developing incomes. Now you've gone onto the online platform, helped 60 odd trainers, including myself. I mean, I've like at least 15, 16x my investment, massively in 3 months. It's crazy. Not got a care in the world now. Kind of don't want to go back. But what's next? What's next?
I think 0 to 1's always the hardest thing. I think 1+ after that is the easy thing for me. It's just about staying relentlessly focused. I had a really, like an awesome but difficult partnership up until, you probably don't even know this, Russell, but I've been working behind the scenes now for about 3 years with an old mentor on a project that's been just spinning plates, and it actually has sapped a lot of my personal energy. It took a lot of time away from my family. Running a big consultant company anyway, with like 20-30 hours going into this other project for so much time, it drained the hell out of me. And so about 2.5 weeks ago, said goodbye to it and basically shut it down. It had a lot of hope and potential, but it was always on the brink of something great, but never actually got there. And it was a lot of energy. So yeah, I basically shut that down. And now for me, it's about being relentlessly focused. And yeah, I've gone 0 to 1. For me, I've validated what we've been doing, and now it's about repetitive execution. That's it. And really taking that additional time that I was spending and wasting on a project that was going nowhere, and just taking time from my family and being a little bit more responsible there. I think at times in our lives we can get to a space where we think, I will just push through this little bit, and then I'll spend time with my family, then I'll do all of the stuff that I need to do. But you suddenly blink, and like my little boy's 4 on Friday. I've been working on this project since he was a newborn, and it's like, man, like this time goes fast. Well, my daughter's 11. She's like a young adult now. It's like things go so fast. So even just simple things like this morning, just waking up and having a coffee and having a little bit more of a relaxed time.
Kids accelerate everything though, don't they?
Yeah, definitely. So for me, it's just about, I understand the impact that I can have on somebody's life, and I feel blessed with a skill set that if I didn't share it, I think I'd be really selfish.
Yeah.
And I think it's about getting that skill set into as many people's hands as possible. I mean, it's not easy to do. I invested 11 grand in advertising last month on the Leverage Coach and the new project. People don't see this, right? You get trolls on Facebook. Like, I'm sick of ads. I'm sick of this. I'm sick of that. Like, yes, there's a selfish motivation. I want to grow a business. I want to create income and finance for my family and my life. But it's driven by a sense of purpose. And for me to go out and spend 11 grand on ads to get my message in front of people to change lives. Yeah, we made a profit on that advertising, but at the same time, still a huge risk. Like,
of course it's 11 grand's a lot of money.
I mean, you got trainers out there like, worried about spending $5 a day.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Russell used to laugh because while he was selling his course, he was struggling to get people to commit to a certain thing. And when he was in the gym, you had to almost convince someone to get like a $29.99 or a $39.99 membership. And he used to tell people, my cousin spends more than that on his beer subscription, like for Brewdog, because I got beer subscription for Brewdog, just I have it delivered to my house, and he's always found that hilarious. Why do you do that? I'm like, it's just like it. Like, go on there, and I get about 18, 30 beers delivered to my house, and I've got this subscription. I spend money on that subscription, and he's like, I can't even get people to like sign up to certain things, to commit to their own fitness, and you're spending more than they are on beer. Do you know what I mean? It's like,
and the thing is, so the people that you're trying to get to commit to the membership, that's the thing.
Yeah,
people spend the money. It's just where they prioritize that energy.
Well, a recent client of mine, he was spending an average of 60 to 70 quid a week on takeaways, and he joined my course. I said, not only can you now afford this course, but you're going to save £360 in 12 weeks.
I mean, most people spend more than that on weed a month. You know what I mean? Like, it's crazy.
Listen, I've got 8 kids, and I spend that on one takeaway. If I go and get a Chinese, I'm spending about 70 or 80 quid just on a Chinese in my house. I think just for like
rationing.
Just for all my lot. They're all like organics. You say like you got 11-year-old. My boy just turned 21 the other day, and I was thinking to myself, where has that time gone? Just like I don't even know. I don't even know where the time's gone. It's like blink of an eye like that. Just remember it's just
I think this has been like a really reflective process for a lot of people. I think the last few weeks, I think for a lot of people, I don't even think that they're aware of the breakthroughs that they will have from this time that they've spent, and they've really analyzed their life and where things are going. And I always talk about results are lag indicators, and you should focus on lead indicators. So results are a lag of the stuff that you work on. So sometimes it's very hard for people in their mind to really see. Like even me with this new project, Leverage Coach has just been something that I've worked on over the last 8 weeks, really. It's been in the background for a hell of a long time. The results we've had already are already just a lag of the work I've been doing for a period of time. But also the work I'm doing now will show up in 90 days time, 120 days time, 365 days time. Same thing now. People are working on stuff like, John, this podcast a year from now could have, 30, 50,000 downloads a month. Like,
nice.
Yeah. And people just don't understand the impact of small committed change. There's a great book called The Compound Effect by Darren Hardy. And it's small repeated actions over time create something far larger than you ever understand ever. And so I think people are going through a time right now. They're not generating the results that they maybe want to in their life, whether that's their fitness, their health, their business. They've maybe got a new business idea. But I think people will just come out of this on the other side and they'll be very shocked at where they could be in 6 or 12 months time. Like, I just think there's catalysts in life and there's paradigms. And I think once you break a paradigm, it's very difficult to return back to how it used to be.
Yeah.
Like people still have that attitude though, don't they? Like what you said before is about older people go, oh, I can't do that technology stuff. Yeah. We've got younger people now that are in this, that are not doing anything. They think, I couldn't do all that digital content stuff and everything else. And I don't want to spend out money. I don't have trainers and bits and pieces like that. I think it's, how do you market to those people? How do you market to that? Like to do that?
I have an alternative viewpoint. Like my marketing is to people. I don't want to ever convince somebody to ever do something. And so most of my marketing is tapping into existing desire. And I think that's what we teach our students. I teach that, but I don't think I teach them that I teach that, if that makes sense. I don't think I've ever said this to you, Russell, before, but the methods that we build upon are based upon tapping into existing desire. Instead of trying to convince somebody that they have to do something about the fitness and the nutrition and that they've got to turn their life around, I want to tap into somebody who's already trying to do it, but just struggling a little bit and they need help.
I remember that from week 1.
Yeah.
I remember when I first sent my value statement to you.
Yeah.
Like, if you really attract that person, is that someone that you want to work with? Because the struggle is going to be so hard. You're going to need a pre-program for them to do before they jump into your other program.
Yeah, exactly.
To kind of warm them up. So it was just changing the language, wasn't it?
Yeah. One word can make all the difference. Are you demotivated and looking to get demotivated, struggling to get time to fit in your workouts? Or are you motivated, but struggling to get results? Like, it's just this subtle thing and people don't realize, but you're talking to a different person. You're talking to somebody who has a desire to get results, but just doesn't know where to begin.
Yeah, exactly. It's the same with what you, even like attracting me. It was like you're already doing well as a trainer, but you want to take it to the next level.
Yeah, exactly.
Because already we're going to have some of the skill sets that you desire to work with. It's going to be a better relationship and go from there. And I think as well, like the people inside the group, like they're quite natural action takers.
Yep.
And like I was going to ask you, like obviously because you've had to take a lot of action to get to where you are, and there's a lot of consistency with that. You're saying about this compound effect. Like, do you have like a ritual, morning routine, or something that you do every day so that you're always like primed and ready to just get out there and just do what's required when most people don't?
Yeah. So I'm very ritualistic in action. And one of the things that I do, which is kind of maybe alternative viewpoint to most people, like I have a morning ritual where I'd wake up and I'd maybe a journal, breathe, meditate, study, and then I get on with my day. And I'll do that for like 30, 45 days. And then I might flip that. And I sometimes start work at like 5 a.m. and work through for like 2 hours and work on a chunk of work. And then I believe that rituals become ruts and routines become ruts. And I think we constantly have to evaluate every single month our past performance. And I think sometimes we have to change what we're doing. And so I'm massive on schedule. Like we help our clients every single month map out what they're going to do with their schedule. Like I think, remember, results are lag indicators. We should focus on lead indicators. Schedule is a lead indicator. Like where you spend your time will determine what results you generate down the line. And so I think every single month, one of the things that I do as an advantage is change that routine and that ritual. And I'll still do the same components. I will still journal, study, meditate, breathe. I'll still do all the marketing pieces that I do, but I just shuffle the order a little bit. And I'm always trying to optimize that and find, the best way to do things.
Yeah. Yeah, keep it fresh. It's the same principle when you're in the gym, isn't it? You don't go in there and just do the same thing, lift the same weights. You mix it up each time to obviously keep your body guessing, keep your mind guessing, keep yourself active.
Yeah, exactly. We need stimulation, right? And I think if we do the same thing over and over and over again, we'll lose that stimulation. I think you look at the intensity of people when they start something new is really, really high. There's actually a graph that you can draw. If you could just imagine like a vertical axis of motivation, a horizontal axis of results. People start at the top, really motivated, but over time, their motivation decreases. If we've got results going on the other direction, you've got results are low, and over time results increase. And so you have this point, which I call the pit of despair, right? Which is where people are being committed to something a fairly decent time, maybe 4 or 6 weeks, but they're not seeing the results that they feel that they should.
High expectation.
Yeah, their expectations aren't aligned with reality. And so they get stuck in this pit of despair. And that point at which those 2 points cross, like motivation dips so much so and results just start to creep up. We got to be very self-aware of like, okay, if I just keep pushing through this little bit, then motivation starts to uptick again in line with results. And so that's what I naturally breed into my schedule. Like I want to keep that motivation high. And part of that is, creating a new way of doing the same thing.
Yeah.
If that makes sense, hopefully it makes sense.
Yeah.
No, it does. Yeah. No, absolutely. Just keeping it. Yeah. It's good. It's good. You have to mix it up and everything else, don't you? So.
Yeah. I think the second question you said there, Russell, was about, the guys are very motivated and action takers. I think that comes down to intentional attraction of the right people as well. As you said, I'm looking for people in motion. And I think as a coach, like any coaches that are listening, you should always look for clients in motion. And that's not a cop out. I think I had a big back and forth on one of our ads, one of the Facebook trolls.
Yeah.
And they're like, a real coach is somebody who can get somebody to do something that they don't really want to do. And I'm like, that's not coaching, that's stupidity. Like, if I ever want a result for a client more than they want it for themselves, it's never going to work, like ever. Because when things get tough, they're going to fall back. And then I'll naturally want to rescue them. If I try to rescue them, they play victim, and it doesn't work. So what you're looking for is existing desire and really tapping into somebody who's already in motion. And like a great coach is a knife's edge. You've seen it with football players. Football player for one club is phenomenal, goes to another club, not so good. Yeah. Or at one club, not very good, goes to another club and skyrockets. What's the difference? It's the desire is already there, but it's the slight edge that the coach can give that player.
Yeah, environment, team, all sorts of stuff. I think people do things for the wrong reasons, like money or, that's right. Well, with football players, you're right. They chose to be a football player. They went there to do it. Nobody just grabbed them off the street and went, you can kick a ball, can't you? Quick, put his shirt on. Come on, I'm going to show you how to do it. We didn't have 10 people. Quick, grab someone.
Yeah.
It's not like at school. It's everyone.
Talent will take you so far, right?
That's it. And you've only helped people who help themselves. That's, halfway, which is the right way of looking at it. That's the right,
It's like saying, John, you should really start a podcast. I think you're really charismatic. You should really start a podcast. Like somebody saying that, it doesn't matter how many times somebody tries to teach you how to do a podcast. If you don't have existing desire to do it, it's not going to happen. But if you're doing a podcast and somebody comes along and says, take your podcast from 1,000, downloads a month to 100,000 downloads a month, you've already got that desire. You're already in motion. You're already doing it. It's much easier to coach that person to the next level.
Yeah, because it's an establishment already there. You've got a good foundation. You build them. That's it.
So it's like Russell's results. It's not like what I did was give Russell principles and strategies and tools that could tap into his existing skill set. And one or two things can make all the difference. And that's all it is. Like, that's why I can't take full responsibility for clients' results. I just arm them and equip them with tools to be able to do it. But they've got the motivation, the desire. They're the people that are waking up at 6 a.m. They're the people that are motivating themselves to get on phone calls with people. They're the people like doing the hard yards. Yeah. I'm just giving them the tools to be able to do it.
Yeah. What it was with me that worked very well with you was just a no fluff approach. I've spent money in the past on coaches and it's just been just like too much build up. Mm-hmm. Not enough about like, this is how you just directly build a business, get in front of people, tell them how amazing your course is and how you can help them and then just get them in. So you can live more lives. And I was just spending too much time with this other stuff and shiny things. And, you know, it was just, I don't know, I just couldn't get on board with it, you know. It was just, yeah, I just can't explain that. It's just a different level. It really is. And like, you know, not to do a direct plug here or anything like that, but at this time, you're trying to adapt to your business. Like, you do want to work online. Like, 100% Chris is your guy. I mean, I've already spoke to a few people already about this and stuff, and they've seen like the exponential growth of my business. And if it wasn't for that, I don't know where I'd be. I'd probably be doing like burpees on Zoom.
Yeah.
Hours a day. You know?
Who doesn't love burpees on Zoom, eh?
Yeah.
I just think that's where I'd be, and be clutching at straws and, you know, trying to secretly meet people down the park to train them, and just praying all the time. And even just down to like the self-discipline, everything else. It's like having a coach is just, it's holding you to a higher, like, higher standard, accountability, someone to just call you out on your shit as well.
That's what you want. That's the key for me. Definitely. Honesty, brutal, raw honesty. When someone like says to you, if you're, you know, someone who's going to call bullshit, that's it. When you say something like, you're not right, mate, that's it, that's not right. You want that, because otherwise, because you notice the people who live on their own, most of these trolls actually you're talking about, they've got no one to check them. Like, my wife is good at that. I might say something and she'll look at me and go, no, John. Like, I'll be like, yeah, all right, whatever. You know, like, she called me on it, and I'll think about it and I go, yeah, all right, maybe you're right. Maybe I shouldn't have said that. But you get these people that are on their own, and they get these feelings and these thoughts in their head, and they think they're right. No one's there to check them, and they're like, I know, I'm going to be a keyboard warrior, and I'm going to just hammer you online, you know, sitting at home with my keyboard, and I'm going to get this done like that. And it's just, that's a shame, that sort of attitude, you know. But you need someone to call on that bullshit, you know what I mean? Which is, we do that to each other, me and Russell, actually, when we say stuff. Or you need someone, like a good partner will always do that, give you that brutal honesty. Because they know there's no malice in it. It's just saying that's not right. You know?
My wife's exactly the same. I think one of the things that really attracted me in the early days, like it's kind of crazy, because growing up, I'd avoid conflict, and then I'd get into fights, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Like, I'd avoid confronting stuff, and then I'd just lose it, and I'd fight. Like, whilst I'm not getting into scraps now, I could definitely adopt that. And it's something I've had to work on tremendously over time. But Danielle, like, she's so direct with people. I remember one of the first times we went out for a drink together, someone like mind swept my drink. It was like this big guy, and she like tapped him on the shoulder, and she snapped the drink out of his hand, and like she went and got it back. And she's always been like that. Like, I got a voicemail off this company that we ordered some doors for before, and I was like, "She a bit snotty?" And she was like, "No, she wasn't snotty at all." Like, sometimes you just pick up on things the wrong way, and you can, if you don't have somebody to check you like that, then you do get out of hand at times.
Mine's the same. Yeah, mine is the same. It's what they say in it. Behind every successful man, there's a woman rolling her eyes.
I was like, just being a grumpy bastard last night. I was like tired, you know, and I hadn't locked the back gate, and I just forgot to do stuff. And she's like, oh, it was like 10:30. Forgot. She's like, just quit moaning. Like, stop moaning. Why are you moaning?
My wife will do that. I'll sit in the bed and I'll get comfy and I'll lay there, and she'll go, "Yeah, the back door locked." And I'm like, "Yeah." She's like, "You sure?" And I'm like,
"Yeah." See the doubt.
Put a doubt in my mind.
Yeah.
Now. Hang on a minute. I've left the computer. I forgot to charge my Apple Watch on the desk.
Yeah.
Look at this. I'm like, get up now just to go and do it. That's it. But she only waits till I'm in the bed. Can't text me while I'm downstairs.
Yeah.
That's it. You know? So just get this stuff done. Just wait until I go and sit upstairs, and that's it. Yeah, family. That's the thing, isn't it? It's the adaptation of being with them all in lockdown. That's the thing. Do you know what? I've actually really enjoyed it.
Yeah, me too.
I've actually really enjoyed it. And it's brilliant. It's opened my eyes and everything else. Like I said to Russ, the only thing I've struggled with is it's getting better. It's not being in the gym. That's it. And I think it's not necessarily like Russell, I was talking to him about it. I don't think it's necessarily the weights and everything else, because Russell does have me doing burpees on Zoom, like on his program and stuff. And I'm not a big fan of burpees, but and I think it's the camaraderie that I miss.
Environment.
Yeah, possibly. I think that might be it. I do miss the pubs. I do miss like doing the stuff, but at the same time, I think this has done wonders for like our family and my mindset. and everything else.
Yeah, we've had the kids sleeping in our bedroom for the last 2 days.
Oh,
So
listen,
like,
I need a bigger bed. I need a bigger bed. I wake up and they're just, and I'm all like screwed up like in the morning. You know, I even asked Russell to give me some stretching techniques and like foam rollers because I'm so like stiff from like a foot in my face or something like that. It's, it's all part
how good were you, 21-year-old boy sharing the bed with you, right?
I'm like, get out of bed, John. He's like, no, it's not comfy. Especially when I've had a drink. And you know what? I'm going to go and do it to him. I'm going to go do it to them. I'm just going to go and lay in their bed, foot in the face, and that's all right. How'd you like it?
My son, like, he's so demanding. Like, he says watching a show and it like goes on, and he's still watching this. He'd just be like, Dad, my movie's gone off. And I'm like, son, ask a question. You want me to help you? Ask a question. Like, can you help me with my movie? And then I'll change it over. And then literally he's like, can you get out of my room now, please? Like
you're ready for space, Dad.
Yeah, he's 3. Do you know what I mean? It's crazy.
You've done. He just needs a bell. That's it. It just rings a bell and you come in. You're this like. That's it, isn't it?
Yeah.
I think that's the rod you make for your own back. My daughter genuinely, I call her Princess, right? And I think she genuinely believes that I'm just here to serve her. Yeah. That's it. There's nothing like, you know, that's all I do. She might as well have the bell, and she would ring it. She would ring it all the time just for, you know, are you going to make a tea or you're going to do this, Dad? You're going to do that. It's just, that's all I get all the time. It's just rod, my own back. It's all part of families. Family's a great motivator, though, isn't it?
It is.
Family is an exceptional motivator. I think if it is the biggest motivator over money, over anything else, and bits and pieces like that, which is one of the reasons why I want to really sort of elevate this year into the podcast and digital content and everything else like that, because I want to spend more time with them. I think I want to evolve. I want to be ahead of the curve. I want to be like working remotely, living that life. And I think this has accelerated that and made me feel like I want to do that. And I know Russell agrees and everything like this, but I think
it gives people so much back.
Yeah, totally. It makes such a difference, you know. But
still go with the gyms, Chris? You've got.
Was that sorry?
I think you'll still stay involved with the gyms, like you've got like the one you own.
Well, my brother-in-law, I mean, he runs the whole gym. I mean, I see it as his.
You said 30 of them, didn't you? Was that right?
No, we had 24 boot camps at one point. We shut them down. When Paul had a bit of a breakdown, he literally text messaged me one day and he was like, "I've transferred you the money into the account." He's like, "I'm out," and that was it. Like, I didn't hear from him for like 6 weeks or something. It was crazy. He was in such a bad space.
Yeah.
And I just decided that wasn't what I wanted to do, and I shut them all down, opened my own gym. And then my brother-in-law was working in a restaurant at the time, part-time, and he was really interested in fitness. So we got him involved, and over time, he's just gradually taken that gym. So I'm out of the day-to-day, and it's like his thing now. But yeah, we had a little chat on it the other day, but I don't think the gym world will be the same so much. I think it'll definitely be a lot different.
Yeah, I'm thinking maybe like run maybe like a hybrid kind of model.
Yeah, I think we discussed the idea of having, you know, all of the tools that we have available for virtual stuff, but with clients training in our gym in like a small boutique environment.
Yeah,
I think we'll be, you know, we've got 3,000 square foot. People can come and train, but they have all of the coaching done virtually, but they just turn up and train in person.
He said that before, actually. Like that's the way to do it. I mean, if you have, like you said, you could be in a gym and there could be a large screen, and you could, like, all these people could be in gyms around the world, and you're teaching them in front of them, like, and you just say, look, you're in a gym, and they can utilise the equipment and everything else. That is, I think that is the way forwards. You know, everything sort of. I think we're going to come out of this in that everything's going to have to evolve. Everything. I don't know whether the gym game's completely gone. I think everyone will still want to go to the gym, but it will change. I think they'll probably become smaller satellite places. You might see a lot more of them, just more compact, sort of little studio style ones.
Well, you've got to look at Peloton as a good symbol of.
I was going to say that.
What will happen?
Yeah,
I think spin studios. I think they've even already gone this way, but I think virtual instructors are totally doable in spin studios. Think about the scale and leverage of that.
Yeah, no, everywhere does it. Russell's the gym that Russell does.
Yeah, There's another
Yeah, it's got
concept in the
everything.
States. They're like little infrared sauna hot pods. And so basically, I think like 4 people go into these hot pods, and then there's like a big workout screen. And so there's, virtual workouts happening on a 4-person infrared pod.
That's pretty cool.
Like hot
Sounds
yoga
awesome.
or hot like HIIT stuff. So
I quite like that. But that might take a little bit of a beating with social distancing, but it's still a good idea. I think it's a great idea. I love that.
I think there's like single pods as well. I think it's just like, you go and put your coins in like you're playing a game, and you go inside, you do your workout.
And
you get off.
I think this time
I didn't even know that.
it's helping people discover what they actually enjoy doing as well. Because I've always said that if you want to be successful and lead, as healthy a lifestyle as possible. If you don't like running, don't run. If you enjoy something, you enjoy it. And it's like finding what you enjoy. Like I've kind of fallen more into love with running over this time, more than weights, to be honest. But I am missing weights. But I just like training with someone, if that makes sense. Like, what's your go-to, Chris? What have you been doing to keep your body fit?
I've been doing like little bits of kettlebell stuff in the garden, but I'm purple belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, so I've been missing that like insanely.
That's the thing, isn't it? Yeah, rolling. I'm going to get into that, definitely.
Yeah, and that's going to be like, that's probably going to be the last thing that we can actually get back to doing, to be honest. But I used to play football and then stopped playing when I was like 26, 27, quite early, to be honest. It was just the travel. I was traveling everywhere with it, and then missed sports. I got into jiu-jitsu. Been doing that like 5 years or something now.
It's a great sport, isn't it?
Yeah,
I'm so up for it.
Man, honestly, I love it so much. Like, like some of the lads in, we've got Chris Fishgold, he's in UFC. Molly McCann, she's in the UFC. Paddy, who's Cage Warriors champ. Like, we've got loads of people who are in our gym that are really successful in the UK scene.
Wow. Well, is that this is your gym or the place where you go?
No, the place I train next gen. So Paul Rem is our head coach. He's been black belt for like at least 15 years at least, maybe a bit longer, but yeah.
What is that, jiu-jitsu?
Jiu-jitsu, yeah.
Is that a Gracie one? Is it that he's?
No, he actually, there's a guy called Chris Brennan who used to fight in Pride.
Oh, right. Yeah, I know. Yeah.
So Chris Brennan is Rimmer is my coach. Chris Brennan is his coach, and so actually when I got my blue belt, it was with Rimmer and Chris Brennan, so it's pretty cool.
So what is it with BJJ? Because like obviously, you got Joe Rogan's podcast, Paul does it as well, yourself. My cousin John used to do it as well.
Yeah,
I always want to get into it. What is it? What did you get from it? That is just.
Oh, it's amazing. It's kind of chess, isn't
it? So there's like, somebody described it as high-level problem solving and involuntary yoga.
I like that.
Yeah. But yeah, basically, for me. Being busy and doing everything else, I think when you go there and you're rolling, like somebody's putting you in such a bad position, like you can't really think about anything other than that bad position that you're in and how to get out of it. The reason I got into it was just like I wanted to learn a little bit of self-defense side of things, but I needed like another hobby. But yeah, it's just like it's the hardest thing that I've ever done in my life. Like if you've ever been out of breath from training, times that by 10, and then you'll get somewhere close to where the level of exertion is. It's just so fun. Like it can be really competitive and it can be really fun at the same time. Like if I roll with some friends, like one of the guys I train with, Ellis, he's like does privates with me, and we just mess around and you figure new things out, you try new little bits, and it's just like it's mad. Like there's just a camaraderie that you build from it, and a friendship where you've got a massive amount of trust. Like people could literally kill, like they could physically hurt you really badly, but I just think you build a level of trust, and it's just fun, mate. I go like lunchtime 3 times a week, and breaks up the middle of my day, and I just when I get back to it, it's 100%. I'm going to be doing it a ton more than I am.
I mean,
I'm purple belt now, man. Like 5 years. I've got another few years to get black belt, and I just think like black belt before I'm 40, and then Mace can start like a year from now. Like when he's 5, he can start training. So I'm trying to get my daughter into it as well.
And I suppose it's less of a violent martial art to teach as well. I know obviously you said like you can choke people out and everything else. But without the striking and that, I think it'd be quite good for discipline for kids as well, wouldn't it?
Well, like massively good for discipline. And if you ever find yourself in a situation where you do unfortunately get into a fight, like you know that you can end that situation without anybody really getting truly hurt.
Yeah. Totally.
So like the Gracies are an example. Like Henna Gracie shares a lot of content on his Instagram a lot, And I don't know if you guys know what mount. Well, John will know what mount is, but when you mount someone and they can't physically move, after about 45 seconds, you start to see the soul of that person drain away.
Yeah.
And it dissipates anything. And so I just think it's a skill that people, I just think it should be taught in schools, to be honest. I think it should be known, but I kind of like the fact that most people don't know it, to be honest.
I think you can always tell the difference between someone who knows what they're doing and they don't. Because as soon as they get into that mount position, someone who knows what they're doing will stay on their back. No one who does, they'll actually try and turn, and then that's it. As soon as they've got your back, it's done. That's it. It's finished. But
I've been doing a lot of wrestling as well. So I've been tying in a lot of wrestling recently. So like takedowns and stuff like that. It's like, it's just fun, man. Like it's fun and it's fitness, but you don't even think that, you don't even feel like you're training, like you're forced to train hard, but it's just, it just feels like fun until you have a really bad day and you're like,
you hurt your neck.
Borderline tears on the mat. I've legitimately been in tears on the mat before.
Yeah.
So.
Someone hyperextending your elbow or getting your ankle, or they get you in some sort of armbar or a triangle. And I remember just getting that crick in my neck, thinking, "Oh my God."
It was Paddy Pimblett. He's like face of Cage Warriors basically in the UK. He's a triangle king, man. Like, and I remember doing a private with him about 3 years ago. It was like still a white belt, I think. I literally must have got triangled about 40 times in a 5-minute round. I literally just finished at the end, and I was like so demoralized. It was unbelievable. He's got long hair. He's like 30 kilo lighter than me.
And he's jumping up in the air and doing it. You ain't even on the floor, isn't it? So he's holding it and he's leaping up and the legs. It's just that figure four that just, and how they wrap it on so quick. Like, I'm not blessed with height. Our family are like hobbits. Do you know what I mean? Like, so I've never been that great at a triangle, but I was always really good at the judo side of things and the throws. And I was always quite strong, and that was it. But I love jiu-jitsu. Always
just game, like different games, isn't it? Like my coach Rimmer, he's a big guy, like but his game is like so much different. Like you roll with him, and it's, man, like the amount of pressure one person can put onto you is like, I've tapped to him when he's just been in mount, because the amount of, like, just the way he uses his body,
he's sapping the energy out of you.
The pressure, like every time you breathe out, it's like he crushes a little bit more air out, and then like you breathe in, you've got less capacity. You breathe out again, and it gets to a point you're like, you got tiny little breaths, and man, it's just like, I love it. It's just such a hard thing for people to grasp, like the close quarter of it, the closeness, like sweat, someone else's sweat going in your eye and your mouth and your nose. And
I can imagine you need quite a level of patience for it then.
It's all about patience, isn't it? Yeah.
I'll tell you straight up, like the first 12 months is brutal. It's horrific. It's the worst. I always say that to white belts, like,
it's pain, isn't it?
Yeah, like when I'm rolling with them, and you can just tell, like, somebody who hasn't been training that long, they've got no base or balance. So you just sweep them all the time, and then they get so frustrated. And I'm just like the first 12 months is horrendous. You just
getting used to being like, someone gets you in a choke, like a rear naked choke or something like that, and you'll tap straight away, and then slowly but surely you'll get used to it. And you get used to moving your neck, and then you might go 3 or 4 seconds, then maybe 5 or 6. But
I remember,
but at first you're like,
you can't. I was still white belt. We did back escape, so you basically start in rear naked choke. So they start with like hooks in and choke, and you've got to escape. And I just remember one time, like, I had a purple belt on my back. Conrad, trained with him a lot now, and basically I just like hit the mat like this. It's like, whoa, what happened? Remember, it was like you escaped, and like I was gone for like a half a second. I was out, and next day, man, I just woke up and it was like I had the worst tonsillitis ever. Like my throat was killing me. But you get conditioned to that over time.
Yeah.
Like you develop strength in your neck and your throat, and you just get used to being choked.
Yeah.
But then there's just levels to it as well. Like I'm at a level now where obviously I've got a bunch of people that are below me that, you know, have some competitive rounds with, but fairly dominant. But then purple belts who sometimes they get the better of you, you get the better of them, but then you've got brown and black belts, and it's just the same frustration. Like every level, you've got frustration. You feel like you're making loads of progress, and then you get smoked by somebody. It's just, it's mad.
Yeah. I suppose that could be quite an analogy for just life.
Russ, we'll go when we get out of this. We'll go. There's 2 or 3 really good ones.
There's up the road, isn't it?
Yeah, that's what I was going to say to you. Let's go there. We'll go a couple of times, and we'll let people.
You got it, man.
Just beat us up for.
I'll give it
a couple of weeks.
It's one of the things that I think that like it's become trendy as well in the last 12 months, and again like the online stuff. Like I'm so glad that I started 5 years ago, and like I'm not just getting into it now.
Yeah, I'll give it a go. My background was kickboxing, but I had to stop. So yeah, I had my ulnar artery rupture.
Oh yeah.
I actually, I don't know if you
get kicked in the elbow, did you?
From there, and it goes to here.
Yeah.
So I can trick like palm readers because that looks like an extended lifeline, and I've got one here as well. And I had to, so my carpal's got impinged my artery from impact. Wow. And then I had to have a vein taken from the forearm and grafted on.
Wow.
And then that was good for like 15, 16 years. And then at the beginning of last year, it thromboned, and I had to have surgery again in October last year. So yeah, but it's all good now. But yeah, I'll give it a go. I suppose it could develop like mental toughness as well, couldn't it? So like
100%, mate.
Because I've just got into the last month, and I did a video about it today of what a month of cold showers has done for me.
Mm-hmm.
Really strange. Like, 2 minutes of cold showers in the morning. Like, I've got to the stage where I can actually have a wash as well, because I couldn't do that before because I'm trying to keep my shit together. And it's like, I tried to do a 5K in under 25 minutes the other day. And after 3K, I wanted to give up. But I kept telling myself over and over again, it's not as bad as the cold shower. It's not as bad as the cold shower.
Yeah.
And I just find that if you can just put yourself through that little bit of hardship, if it's first thing in the morning, or whatever it may be, or something that you're not great at or you struggle to do, then the other challenges in life are just easier.
Yeah, I agree. That's the big thing for jiu-jitsu. I think, imagine being the most out of breath you've ever been in your life, and then having somebody trying to choke you. Like, it's like a life or death situation. Like
I'm not looking.
And then they do choke you, and then you move around, and someone else just do all over again.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. We have every year, end of year, we have King of the Mat. And so Christmas, basically, it's like 100 people descend on the mat, and then it's basically if you get submitted, you're off. And so,
like Royal Rumble.
Yeah, it's like people like sneak attacking each other. So once people get tapped, literally the second that they finish that round, somebody could literally just jump straight on the back and choke them. So everyone's like backs to walls, and yeah, it's just mad. It's chaos. But yeah, it's
keep awareness, that spatial awareness that builds, and it also you want to be last on the mat and right on the edge.
I mean, this by the wall. Paddy and Fishy, Fishy's UFC, Paddy's Cage Warriors, and like they were rolling for about an hour, I think. So it's like non-stop for an hour, back and forth.
You'd be shattered. You shattered after that, wouldn't you?
Level, yeah.
I'm myself up for this now, haven't I? So.
Yeah, mate, you've committed. It's on camera. It's recorded. So.
Yeah, exactly. I can't back out now.
You got 2 people that will hold you accountable on this call as well.
No, we're going to film it, Chris, and we'll add it on the website saying like Russell's first day of jiu-jitsu, just to see.
Eyes watering. Oh no, this has been awesome, Chris. I really appreciate you coming on, man.
No, man, appreciate you having me.
It's definitely we'll have you back on. It's really good. It's nice to meet you.
I'm happy to be on. Yeah,
it's been fun.
Nice to meet you. Let's do it.
Anything you want to kind of leave us with? Anything you know?
Yeah, where do we find? So where do we find your courses and stuff like that? I'll get all the details and stuff. We'll put it on the bottom of the video, and obviously we'll promote it and we'll put it on the Facebook and stuff. But where can people find you? Where do people find what you do?
Yeah, so Instagram at itsme_Chris_Brown. Facebook, facebook.com/ChrisB1110. And website wise, forget that right now. We're working on.
Is that the best way?
Never happy with the websites.
Is that the best way for people to get involved with your coaching and everything else like that?
Yeah, just hit me up on Facebook or Instagram. I'm good with that.
We'll definitely add the links on the bottom and everything else. So it's been good, But Chris, thanks very much. It's been amazing, mate. It's been been insightful.
Appreciate you having me. Fun.
Anytime. We'll have you back anytime. Definitely, 100%.
Well, you guys will have to come up to Liverpool as well and come and train at Next Gen.
100%.
Where is it you're at? Where's that gym?
Liverpool. Liverpool City Centre.
All right. Well, when the lockdown's over, in fact, tell you what, we'll leave Russell's first jiu-jitsu lesson until we come up to this gym. And
so I can roll with them.
I'm massively out of practice and haven't done it for 10 years. But obviously, I'll give him a gi because I've got like 4 or 5 of them still, and I'll bring him up, and then we can we'll have a little film off. We'll film it just to just to show what it's really like. Be good.
There we go. Yeah.
Awesome.
That's it now. That's it, brother.
Legend,
We've
mate.
set you up. We've set you up. That's it. Chris
That's
is
it.
going to host us there. It'll be good.
Awesome. Love it.
Be brilliant. Cheers,
Can't wait.
Chris. Thanks very much, and we'll catch you next time.
Cheers, guys.
Cheers,
All
mate.
right, peace out.
Thanks a lot.
Bye bye.
Cheers.